So, last summer, I grew some popcorn in my garden and filmed myself harvesting it. I never really got around to editing because, frankly, editing's boring. And I thought, who would like to watch me putt around my garden for 10 minutes? But with everything being closed and me having nothing better to do than plant more seeds and edit, here we go. Growing corn is surprisingly easy, and that's because it's a type of grass. Maize is a grain belonging to the Podaceae family, and they grow super easy. I actually bought these seeds a few years back when I was living in Maine studying permaculture. Heirloom or heritage crops come from seeds that are passed from generation to generation and are typically not used in large-scale agriculture, often because this industry tends to select for the highest yield. While there's nothing wrong with selecting for yield, as an at-home gardener, I also have other priorities when it comes to growing food in my garden. I prefer heirlooms because they promote biodiversity, they protect history, and in a smaller scale garden are easier to grow in my opinion. Did you know that there are around 2,000 varieties of corn? If we look around large-scale agriculture, there's probably, 10, 20, 100 varieties being grown for commercial use. Again, nothing's wrong with that, but we do have to look at history, for example, the Gros Michel and the now Cavendish banana, to see how having a monoculture is definitely not in our best priority. By having all of our crops be monocultures, we're just inviting disease and fungus to decimate our crops. By promoting permaculture and heirloom vegetables in home gardens, we can make sure to save varieties for our future generations. Heirloom seeds are also a really useful way to study the past. Anthropologically, by studying how people have cultivated different crops and how they traveled throughout the world, we learn a lot about culture and history. Maize, for example, began its cultivation 10,000 years ago in southern Mexico. Subsistence farmers took what was more akin to wild grass and slowly, through selecting for yields and preservation and taste, developed what we have as modern corn. Heirloom seeds are an amazing way to study and preserve history, and also a pretty cool way to learn about it by tasting it yourself. Heirloom seeds are also a fantastic way to tailor your garden into your climate that you live in. Here in sunny Southern California, it's pretty hard for me to grow more delicate winter varieties or early spring varieties of peas and kale, but by utilizing different resources like heirloom seeds, I could find the exact variety that will work for my backyard. Anyways, I did not mean to ramble this long about heirloom seeds and vegetables. Here are some quick tips for your garden when it comes to corn. Make sure that you're getting enough sunlight and water. Also, mulch the plants as they're growing. I use grass clippings because it's cheap and effective. You want to make sure you have adequate support for the stalks as they're growing and make sure you're getting as much nutrients to the roots. Also, plant the stalks together, close in a bundle, so that they can pollinate each other. And if you're going to be cultivating 2 different types of corn and you don't want them to cross-pollinate, make sure you plant them at separate areas in your garden. Unless you want some cool Frankenstein corn. Stay safe and stay healthy. Plant some vegetables.